It is time to leave your worries outside and laugh with us inside the Treehouse. I'm Dan O'Malley, along with Trey Trindholm. Texas has gone backwards on THC. Trey, help me if I remember my dance steps properly. The two-step is sort of like one step to the left and like two to the right.
No, it's
one step sort of forward, two back,
two forward. Well, it depends. The two-step is a waltz, basically. It's a two steps forward, one step side. It's like shuffle left, left, right, left, left, right.
Sort of a twangy waltz.
I mean, it's just a waltz. It's just
but with some country twang on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the new Texas two-step is one forward and two back, especially when it comes to laws concerning THC, because that's exactly what happened in Texas just a couple of weeks ago. Our dear governor, Greg Abbott, and I don't know exactly how he did this. This is where I need your political and government knowledge, okay? Because you were poli-sci major at UT, right?
Government at UT, but yes, same thing.
Okay. So how is it that our fair governor is able to enact this new THC ban across the entire state seemingly single-handedly? And when I say that, it's not like he was the only one that did it, but I don't know anyone in the state of Texas, voters, the electorate, the citizens that wanted this. I don't know anyone that was asking for it.
To my understanding,
and now we've got this huge new dangerous THC law.
I believe this is so. In the regular session, the legislature passed something. He actually vetoed it. Then when they went back in special session, they passed this form. And it was enacted and then set for whenever it came, August 1st, July 31st, whenever it started.
Yeah.
I don't think he unilaterally just passed a law.
But and that's where I maybe need some clarification, because at the very least, from those of us that, from the citizenry of Texas, I don't know anyone that was clamoring for this. Look, like, I'm all for, quote unquote, law and order. If you do bad, you should go to jail kind of stuff. I'm not saying that's not the case. But when it comes to THC and things, they're basically they're like, on July 30th, whatever gummies you had that were just for recreational or therapeutic purposes, the next day turned into Category 1 felonies, carrying massive amounts of jail time. And it's kind of scary how we can go so quickly, almost in the blink of an eye, to Texas kind of being okay with a little bit of THC to having one of the strictest THC laws in the country.
Well, number one, if you look at the overall law, you have to understand who was behind this. And the biggest driving force behind this new law was the medical marijuana community. They spent, when Texas passed medical marijuana, a lot of these, outfits spent a lot of money getting their business aligned with the law, medical people, prescriptions, everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Delta 8 and Delta 9 came around, which totally skirted the need for medical marijuana, because you could go into any head shop, vape shop, whatever, and buy the stuff. So, and that, that's part why they're trying to crack down on it so hard. So people have to go to the medical marijuana dispensaries in Texas to get this stuff, because you can't bring it in from Colorado, Oklahoma, wherever. Then you get into federal deal of if you're now transporting across state lines, and that's the biggest thing they're going after in the gummies are the Delta 8 and Delta 9, the THC gummies.
It's fascinating to me that you say that it was the medical marijuana arm that was behind this, because most of us have learned in recent years that whenever anti-marijuana sentiment grows, it's usually at the behest of the quote unquote package industry, which is the liquor stores and the beer and alcoholic beverage industry, because
That's
they some reason take hits on sales when marijuana is legalized. But in this case, it's actually the medical marijuana side
everyone
that's
thinks it's
pushing it.
the alcohol industry, and it's not. It's kind of like, who's the biggest opponent of Texas legalizing gambling?
I honestly, at this point, don't know.
Las Vegas
Okay, gotcha.
and Oklahoma now. Who are their biggest feeder markets? Texas.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I will say that the package industry does still have plenty to say on this. It's not just the medical marijuana, because I saw just a few days ago the guy that either runs or started Total Wine is a big donor to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and has contributed to his campaign. So I mean,
oh,
the liquor industry is still involved in it,
well,
probably, but it
I-
make but I hadn't thought about the fact that the medical marijuana side was
don't
so heavily involved.
don't let it confuse that because someone owns, I mean, and I think Dan Patrick's a twat. So, don't confuse just because someone owns Total Wine that they're contributing to Dan Patrick just because of his hard on for medical marijuana. I mean, just for marijuana in general, he's
Right.
against all of it.
There is a jump to conclusions, but the
Right.
involvement does raise the question of it.
Drinking habits. The alcohol industry is taking a hit right now just because everyone alcohol was the one business during the pandemic that boomed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of the very few, I shouldn't say one, but very few businesses that really thrived in the pandemic because everyone stayed home and drank. I mean, bars suffered for 2 years. Then 2022 was for the most part a magical year in bars. I ran one of the few that actually grew in 20 and 21, but in general, and now alcohol industries, and as businesses in America do all the time, everyone was like, oh my God. And it's like Republic National just went bankrupt. I just filed for bankruptcy, which is one of the largest distributors in the country. Why? They did things like, and there's a Texas whiskey called Balcones. Now, I'm going to say this. It's a shit product. Judging and go back and look who endorsed them. Skim.
You know why, though, right?
Because it's a shit product.
Well, at one point, Ben's brother was the head of marketing.
Oh, well, good marketing only goes so far when you have a shit product.
And then when he didn't work there anymore, somehow that endorsement went away.
Yeah,
that's just what I've heard. I don't know that for sure.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think they paid like $100 million or something for Balcones, and like, they threw all this money at Texas whiskey. For the most part, Texas whiskey's been crap. And even bigger problem is they come on the market and they want to be at a price point that's higher than, let's say, Crown Royal.
Long established heritage brand.
Yes. And people forget it's like Tito's. Yeah, Tito's sells for about, I don't know, probably $30 for a 1.75 now. But when I was in college at UT in the 90s, Tito himself schlepped his vodka from bars to bar on 6th Street at $6 a handle, just trying to get into being the house vodka. And that's how he started it. And now he can turn down, I think the last time I saw it, he turned down like $12 billion.
Tito's is one of the great stories as far as like how marketing and certain things can help a product.
How marketing and Texas branding, because if everyone's going to be honest, Tito's is not a great vodka.
No,
It's very
it's not bad.
it's middle of the road. Great marketing.
There's a lot to unpack there about everything you just covered, and I want to dig into a lot of it. First of which is from a personal standpoint on the Tito's side of things. If you're buying a handle of Tito's for around $30 in Texas, you're getting a really good deal. Where I am currently in the state of Oregon and where I bought some in Washington State as we were driving from Seattle down to Portland, depending on where you go, it might be in the 30s or the low 40s. In the U.S. Virgin Islands, Tito's is a top shelf vodka. I mean, to buy a handle of that is in the 40s. Meanwhile, Stolichnaya, same size, is going to be in the 20s.
And I would argue that Stoli's a better vodka.
And I'm not going to fight you on that.
I will. I have said this for decades. The best vodka for the money is Monopolova.
That's what I've been. That's what I've had right now. The last couple of weeks.
Monopolova for the money, best vodka there is.
Now, because I know someone somewhere listening right now is screaming at their phone or on Patreon or on YouTube or something, and they're going like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! How does Trey know? He just posted he's 10 years sober. How does Trey know what Tito's tastes like or Balcones?"
Balcones actually had, I believe, it come out right before I actually quit drinking. How do I know? Yeah. So, over my career in the bar business, I'll conservatively say I oversaw $50 million in liquor sales. And over that time,
Conservatively.
Yeah. And I've known people with very good palates, people that have taken courses that, there are courses like that make you where you're a sommelier in wine for liquor and everything else. And I trust their opinion. Now, I drank plenty of Tito's. Tito's is not new. Don't like I said, Tito's was around in the 90s.
And you were too. And you were in college.
I was a budding alcoholic.
You and Tito's cross paths at the perfect time.
Yeah. Flavored vodkas were just getting popular as I quit drinking. Deep Eddy, one of the last things, boy, man, did it get me in trouble. I mean, Deep Eddy sweet tea vodka came out right about probably a year before I quit drinking. And man, I had some, oof.
I think that may have pushed you over the edge.
Oh man. I will say this, you take that on the rock, splash of water with a lemon, man, you can get in some trouble with that stuff.
Go oof. all day.
But yeah,
anyway, that's one of the things I wanted to mention there, as far as everything you had mentioned that I wanted to unpack in there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, with the Balcones, multiple bars I had, because of a liquor rep or something, I would get a bottle of Balcones. It would sit there for 2 years.
Whew, damn.
So you finally, I basically, to finally get rid of it, I think I priced it at $4, and I still had trouble getting rid of it.
Jesus Christ. And then the other thing I wanted to mention that you mentioned earlier is, like, back to the Balcones thing. You said Texas whiskey for the most part is crap. Now, when you say Texas whiskey, you mean whiskey from Texas. The differentiator in there might be TX whiskey, which is, I think, bottled in Fort Worth.
TX was one of the first. TX came out when they first started at a fairly reasonable price point.
I liked it. I haven't had it in quite a while, so that's why I say liked. But when I would have it years ago, I liked it, especially for the price. And especially compared to Balcones, because I remember having both in the studio at one point and going like, "Oh, give me that TX over the Balcones."
So, but yeah, TX whiskey. I always get TX whiskey was fine. Their bourbon, but bourbon's technically, I think, supposed to still come from Kentucky. But no, TX, nice little cinnamon twist, little hints of cinnamon in there. It was solid. But it's not, I'm not just trying to bag on the bourbon exploded after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, prices went through the roof. And then now, they're slowly starting to come back down. Like E.H. Taylor, really, they make some great bourbons, great whiskeys. But, what once was $40 a bottle, then all of a sudden is $80 a bottle. Well, it's not that great anymore.
Right.
And it's like everything does in our boom and bust cycle. We don't, as a country, we don't know moderation really well, and so that's how it go.
So let's go back to the bust side of the beginnings of this conversation, and that was the THC law in Texas, and that changed. So in Texas, here's how much prison time possessing THC gummies can now get you in Texas, okay? Less than a gram, so basically one gummy, can get you 180 days up to 2 years. 1 to under 4 grams, basically 2 gummies, 2 to 10 years. And then the range goes up from there. 4 grams to less than 400 grams, so like a handful of gummies, 2 to 20 years. And then over 400 grams of gummies, to me, because I'm not a marijuana person, roughly the amount of a bag of Haribo gummy bears, but loaded with THC, will get you 5 to 99 years or life, as if there's a difference between 99 years and life. So, on July 30th, whatever gummies you had were cool, and the next day they're felonies. That's pretty alarming.
Mind you, you also have to have the whatever county you're in, the local DA agree to. Like, I don't think Dallas is going out of their way to prosecute anyone. Now, Collin County probably will.
Oh yeah, yep, they will. And it's interesting too, because I was like, okay, does this now make Texas the strictest THC law in the country? And it actually does not. That esteem goes to Idaho, and I believe it was Nebraska. Yeah. Idaho and Nebraska actually have stricter THC laws on the books than Texas, although Texas is, right up there with them. And we had mentioned the medical use in Texas and how the medical marijuana industry is what is sort of pushing.
They were one of the big driving forces.
Yeah. So it's interesting to mention that even though, and this to me, I think is one of the most fascinating things about it, is you've got the medical side pushing for this, despite the fact it's not like Texas has a freewheeling medical marijuana situation itself. It's not like California where you can just get some rando writing you a script and you go into a dispensary and you're walking out. Texas is still really strict, even on its medical side. Texas operates the restrictive compassionate use program, which allows registered physicians to prescribe low THC cannabis for specific qualifying conditions. So it's a high bar to reach, even for medical marijuana use in Texas. It's better than it used to be, but it's not like it was like, I'm sad. Okay, here's a
well, no, even Oklahoma is pretty easy. I mean, you have a doctor in a dispensary like, oh yeah, you've got so and so, sure. Which I don't know that the problem is, from my understanding, is that the medical marijuana outfits, they had to jump through a lot of hoops and pay a lot of money to get their certification to be, under the whatever it's called. And then all of a sudden, like I said, then no one needed them because you could go to your local vape shop and buy Delta 8, Delta 9 gummies. And that's why so much of this is focused on the gummies and not on actual marijuana. like
Yeah.
that you smoke is because that's where the Delta 8 and Delta 9 thrived. And listen, I I have some pothead friends that they freaked out, still are freaking out just because they're like, well, how do I know that, what I've got doesn't have, Delta 8, Delta 9 in it, and I'm gonna, get sent away to prison. I'm like, you're probably okay, but it's and
Don't get pulled over. 10-2, brother. 10-2. Don't do anything to draw any attention to the fact that you may have some fun gummies.
And listen, I mean, we can. Greg Abbott has turned in. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like about it, but he is disappointing more and more people as time goes on. Some of the stuff he has let happen, and the things that he was quietly for, then he's like, oh no, is mind-boggling, and that he'll win another term is equally mind-boggling. And it goes to show that biggest Democrats can't come up with a effing candidate. I mean, if they could go dig up Ann Richards, God, she would win. Could win the presidency.
Amen, brother. I keep thinking about that. I keep thinking about the fact that it even though it was a long time ago, to people in our age bracket, nothing feels like forever ago. But it was a mere 30 years ago that we had the last Democratic governor of Texas. And when you think back to Ann Richards, she doesn't exactly scream, blue blood, bleeding heart liberal. But I mean, she was a good ass Texas woman, and she led the state, and she did really well.
The sad thing is, a liberal Democrat 30 years ago is a middle of the road conservative today.
Mm-hmm. But it's amazing the extremes we have reached. Those of us that kind of hang out in the middle at times are like, why are you guys way over there? Yeah. What the hell happened?
But Ann Richards was funny. She knew how to play politics. I mean, she's why we have the lottery. Because she knew, let him do the whole provision. For a long time, there were places in East Texas where, let's say you had a convenience store. Well, you had a secret window in the back is where you sold the lottery tickets. No one, none of the church folk will see you buying them. Mm-hmm. Same thing with liquor.
Yeah. No, I really wish someone could dig up Ann Richards and put her back in the game because she
funny. And God, she was funny.
She would spank the current governor, lieutenant governor of Texas. I mean, I don't mean that verbally in a debate. I mean, during a debate, she might actually grab Greg Abbott out of his chair and put him over her lap and spank his ass. Same with Dan Patrick. And guess what? They'd probably have to just kind of take it because she's going to remind them of their meatball.
Yeah. I mean, but she got so, for good and bad, she got so much done. And yeah, I think people would be, she was a little bit too early for the national platform. Mm-hmm. But I think today people would absolutely fall in love with her.
Maybe that's what we need to do. We need to start unearthing some Ann Richards clips and be like, ha, here we go. Let's get back to this, please. This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration. We don't say this lightly, but if you have a problem on your roof, around your home, inside your home, you want to change some things up, maybe get a new bathroom, get a new kitchen, call the Cooks. 833-COOK-DFW. 833-COOK-DFW, the website cookdfw.com. Trey probably knows this better than I do, but finding a good contractor is really effing hard. When it comes to finding a roofer that you can actually trust is really effing hard. Finding a contractor that can come in and do a job on the inside or the outside of your home to the level that you want at a price that you're okay with, call the Cooks. 833-COOK-DFW or the website cookdfw.com.
Well, and I will say this about the Cooks is, yeah, they're going to give you a great price. Now, it may not be the great price that Like when they came and looked at my stepmom's, at Jackie's roof, Daniel called me and goes, listen, I go, he goes, this probably in the number you want to hear, but this is what it takes to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And I would much rather have someone tell me that than go, oh yeah, we can do it for this very minuscule amount. And you're going, really? Sometimes it can't be too good to be true. And they're not only they're going to give you a great price, but they're going to give you a great price doing it correctly.
And by doing it correctly comes with great warranties. So if something does go wrong with the product or whatever, you're covered and they got your back. 833 Cook DFW. That's for yourself. That's for your business. That can be for a family member like Trey calling for his stepmom. Somebody with a house? Call the Cooks. 833 Cook DFW. That inspection is free. If you want an estimate on other stuff, those things are free as well. 833 Cook DFW. All right. Today is Wednesday, August 19th, 2026. Let's celebrate today with some birthdays. Oh, man. I hate it when I go to birthdays and I get excited about one and then I see that they're dead. Nate Dogg. Today is his birthday, but apparently he died in 2011.
I was about to say he died years ago.
I've totally forgotten it. Like, I mean, it was 15 years ago that he died. So I guess I'm sure I knew it at the time, but it didn't stay in my brain. So, oh no, R.I.P. Nate Dogg. Regulators mount up, but not really. Anyway, he would have been 57, one of the defining voices of West Coast hip hop. Yeah. That song is still one of my favorites from back in the day.
Oh, that is a classic.
That's an all-timer, especially when I think they used it on the Young Guns 2 soundtrack. Or is that where he actually got the line?
No, that's where he got the line.
Was from the first Young Guns. Because it was Charlie Sheen, I think, that had the line in the first one, which is Regulators Mount Up.
Well, I think that was after Young. Was it Young Gun? What was the difference between the first one was Young Gun and the second one was
Young Guns 2?
Young Guns 2? Okay, yeah, because
the official titles were Young Guns 1 and Young Guns 2, Back in the Saddle.
Okay.
I'm making that up, Trey. That wasn't the full title.
Regulators came out after both of those, but he sampled the soundbite.
Yeah,
and I think is he the one? I want to say Snoop Dogg like bailed him out of jail to come do a concert, or
maybe. I'd have to look that one up. Other birthdays today from the opposite side of the music spectrum. Leanne Womack is 60. She is still alive. Grammy-winning country singer best known for I Hope You Dance. And Johnny High's Country Review in Arlington. Yes. She, look it up. She was part of Johnny High's Country Review back in the day as a kid.
I don't even know what that is.
I didn't either. But my ex, Carrie, when I don't know if we were still in high school, but it was at like the downtown Arlington theaters. I don't even know if that's still there, but I think it was like Johnny High's theaters. Anyway, it's fuzzy memory stuff. I mean, this is over 30. This is like 30 years ago, right? Apparently Leanne Womack was part of his show when she was a little girl, because she was still is, as far as I know, an amazing singer as an adult. If you're an amazing singer as an adult, you probably were an amazing singer as a kid, and you get discovered pretty quickly. But I remember we went to this show with her parents and like grandparents, I think, as well, in Arlington at this theater, and it was Johnny High's like Country Review, and it was really well known in the area, I guess, except that I hadn't heard of it. And then it was its prominence was raised a little bit by the celebrity of one Leanne Womack. There you go. Yeah. Ahmed Best is 53. This is a guy that I feel bad for ish. He is the actor and voice behind Jar Jar Binks in the Star Wars prequels. I
Oof.
say I feel bad-ish for him because Jar Jar Binks is one of the most maligned characters in cinema history. And in his defense, he did, I'm sure, exactly what George Lucas wanted him to do. I mean, he owned that role. He was really good at performing this outlandish, silly, amphibious character in the Star Wars universe. And most of us hated it. So I kind of feel bad for the guy, but he was still in Star Wars, which is not, the worst thing in life.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jar Jar was in all 3 of the prequels, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I don't feel too terribly bad for him. And again, I maintain this, and I catch a lot of crap for it. But if you go back and watch the first 3 after you've watched the last 3, first 3 ain't that bad. Phantom Menace was not near as bad as people thought.
Yeah.
After the crap of the last 3. So perspective is everything.
I also love the fan theory that came out of the prequels in regards to Jar Jar Binks, and that Jar Jar was not this amphibious simpleton from the no whatever planet, but in fact he was Darth Jar Jar.
I've never seen that one.
It's a solid one, dude. Look that up.
Darth.
Look that up. It's like, I don't know if it's actually Darth Jar Jar or Dark Jar Jar, but basically the fan theory of it's one of the great tricks of the Sith is that they were able to infiltrate this whole thing with an idiot character being played by a Sith Lord.
Okay.
I mean, the first time I saw an artist rendering of of a Sith Jar Jar, I think I spit God knows what I was drinking right out of my whole face.
I will have to look that one up.
Wow. Gerald McCraney, who has come up a couple of times recently here inside the Treehouse, is 79 today.
How did we talked about him? It was Major Dad that we were somehow talked about a while back.
We talked about Major Dad, and I don't remember
women.
exactly how Major Dad came up, but I do remember, I think it was Meshach Taylor's birthday a couple of weeks ago, which got us talking about designing women, which got us talking about Delta Burke, and Delta Burke was married to Gerald McCraney.
Yeah, but I feel like you're right, but I also feel like somehow 80s, 90s sitcoms came up and Major Dad, because
it was 2 separate conversations. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you had said I'd never watched Major Dad. It was kind of outside of my wheelhouse.
Peter Gallagher is 71, best known for projects like The OC, While You're Sleeping, American Beauty. He's the actor with those really big black bushy eyebrows.
I'm pretty sure I know.
Kevin Dillon is 61, best known as Johnny Drama on Entourage, also the younger brother of Matt Dillon. Kira Sedgwick, the Emmy-winning star of The Closer, Singles, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, is 61. She's also married to one Kevin Bacon. So when she plays 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, she's always on top.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Perry would have been 57.
Didn't his drug dealer just get sentenced a while back to...
anyone that had a finger in any of his stuff, all going to prison. The dealer, his doctor, his assistant. I mean, everyone. They followed the chain of pills that he died from. Anyone that came in near contact with those pills is going to prison.
What they call her, the ketamine queen?
Yeah. John Stamos is 63 and still looking damn good. Bastard.
You know, it's funny. I didn't think they got along, and then I saw a TikTok the other day of him, Dave Coulier, Candace
Bure now.
I know, what was it?
Cameron.
And is it Jodie Sweetin? The other girl?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they really spoke, but they were doing a TikTok together, and I was like, oh.
Well, that's fun to know. Good for them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's if you see Dave Coulier doing a TikTok with Alanis Morissette, then send me that one.
Oh, yeah, then hell's frozen over.
as Alanis Morissette skates over it.
Yeah. I mean, there are two people that I feel like had albums based on them where, like, Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill is just, for the most part, a giant FU to Dave Coulier.
I think that is where we get the term scorched earth.
Well, but also one of the other
actually,
ones,
it goes back to the Civil War. But as far as musically scorched earth,
well, it's not
Alanis
even
Morissette,
that's far back.
even before then.
Yeah. But
Okay.
the other one that I don't really goes under the radar, and this was even worse because he had to endure, still does, but Tragic Kingdom, the No Doubt, that hit No Doubt album, that's all Gwen Stefani's writing about the Tony guy that's the bass player, that they were in a romantic relationship and then broke up. I mean, that whole album is just a giant fuck you. Just everything.
That's got to be one of the most amazing conflicts of interest I have ever seen. Because for him, it's really a bittersweet thing, because on one hand, this is really important relationship in his life that turned south, and that's bad enough. But then it's made worse by the fact that it's with a bandmate, and then it's made worse by the fact it's with a bandmate who's the front person for the band and the mega star from the band. And then it's made worse by the fact that while she's singing at you and not just about you, you're also making buckets of money on it. So
he broke up with her, but yeah, that's got to be, he was set for the rest of his life, because this is back in the day when that came out. One hit album, you were set for life. And you look at that, I mean, they just did a residency at the Sphere. I mean, they sold out every night, everything else. But yeah, that whole album is her mourning, grieving, hating you. And you had to, not only you had to play it every night. I mean,
I know.
There's the one clip when Fleetwood Mac did one of their concerts, and it's, Stevie Nicks, whatever song she wrote about Lindsey Buckingham, and everyone's like, oh my God, she's just scorching him. No one remembers that he wrote a song about her 30 years prior. They had a very volatile relationship. But yeah, that one's totally one-sided, with No Doubt. Gwen Stefani penned an entire album just effing you,
just eviscerating him. Yeah.
Yes.
And then they have to go on tour to promote the album, and she could just look at him and go, yeah. And then meanwhile he's like, every strum of these strings goes right to my bank. Hate me all you want. That's one of those things where I've never met No Doubt. I was at the Addison Improv at the same time they were one night, where they got ushered into the back or whatever. But if I ever had the opportunity to interview them, I don't think I could help it. I'd be like, so what was that like?
How awkward was that?
Are y'all good now? Is it weird?
When you were recording that, and you started reading the lyrics, what was that like?
Yeah. What were your initial impressions? Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
This segment of the Treehouse is brought to you by us. Go to patreon.com/Treehouse on air and subscribe to get more Treehouse in your life today. Treehouse Plus, Super Plus, and Ultimate Treehouse, all available. Excuse me. I don't know what it is about the third segment. I always start burping up my coffee. Go to patreon.com/Treehouse on air, and you can get more Treehouse in your life today. It is a bonus content, bonus episodes, video as well, all right there for your enjoyment. Patreon.com/Treehouse on air. And the new feature we've got is the live taping for our Ultimate Treehouse subscribers. So the Thursday episode that drops during the week, you as an Ultimate Treehouse subscriber get access to that live taping that you can be a part of, or in the chat and everything. So that happens all at patreon.com/Treehouse on air. Back inside the Treehouse, I'm Dan. He's Trey. I don't normally do this, but there's a few other birthdays. There's a few other birthdays that are so prominent, we need to actually mention them. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like we've left too much meat on the birthday bone. Before we touch on those, we might have time to get into the flock camera misreads. So I was checking out some of the comments on our Patreon. Some of our Patreon subscribers, some of our Treehouse Plus subscribers were pointing out some of the issues that have arisen from flock camera usage. Hopefully, we'll get time for that today. If not, we'll touch on it tomorrow. But the other important birthdays that I want to mention for today, August 19th, 2026. Former President Bill Clinton is 80. I think it's always important to mention one of the alive presidents, especially when we were talking about Ann Richards earlier in the heyday of the 90s in politics. I'm not even sure where Bill Clinton would land on the political spectrum if you plucked him out of the 90s and drop him into today. He might be middle Democrat.
No, Bill,
almost left conservative.
You go look at Bill Clinton's policies and listen, let me say this. Bill Clinton is the greatest president of my lifetime. I say that as I generally am conservative, but Bill Clinton, greatest president of our lifetime. Part of that is in 94 when Contract with America and Newt Gingrich came about, Bill Clinton was a pragmatic politician. And you look at what those Congresses got done, what they did, from everything from welfare reform to they actually adopted a deal that said, for every dollar you increase in spending, you need to cut $1 of spending. And you actually had surpluses in the late 90s, a booming economy, everything else. But you go look at where Bill Clinton stands on so many things. He would very much be conservative in today's, and still, and he people forget, saxophone on Arsenio Hall. Everything. He was cool. He wasn't Obama cool, but he was cool.
Obama ran because Bill Clinton walked, as far as the cool factor. It's like he kind of opened that door a little bit, and that made it to where we were like, wait a minute, our president can be kind of cool all of a sudden? All right, I'm here for it. And then.
And again, I've said this, I feel like I've said it recently, boy, wouldn't it be nice that the worst problems we had right now were the president got a BJ in the Oval Office?
You know what? I'm on my knees begging for those days. When that was the biggest controversy. So old Slick Willie turns 80 today. Happy birthday to the 42nd president of the United States.
And if
which, by the way, also reminds me of how great Phil Hartman was on Saturday Night Live when he would play Bill Clinton. One of my favorites was when because this was back when SNL was also great. Swear to God, everything was better in the 90s. I still remember one of the bits they did with Phil Hartman as President Clinton on one of his jogs through Washington D.C. and he stops at a McDonald's and keeps talking to people while eating all their McMuffins.
Listen,
this is great.
One of the all-time great pictures. And this just goes to show you is that no matter how high you are in the world, you can be absolute crap. And this is after the Monica Lewinsky thing came out. And it is a picture of Hillary, Chelsea, Bill, and the dog leaving Marine One. And it's Hillary and Chelsea walking ahead, then the dog, then Bill, because that is his position. Yeah, you are the leader of the free world, but you are in the doghouse.
It's a good thing you're president, buddy. Because otherwise your ass would be walking.
Yeah. You'd have been on the Greyhound, not Marine One.
Oh, God, those were the days. If you loved what you heard here today, be sure to share it with a friend. Hit that share button from your favorite listening platform, and together we can grow the Treehouse Show. The flock camera controversy extended version will be tomorrow, along with, even though he's 10 years sober, Trey occasionally has to tip his hat to some alcoholics out there. That's coming up tomorrow inside the Treehouse. We'll see you in there.